Hello friends, today we are going to see exceptions in Visual Studio 2008. Okay, these exceptions which we are going to handle at the runtime. Okay, for an example, uh, what if the depth of an array is 4 and we are entering the values which is overflooding the array. So it will give you an error at the runtime. So we need to handle this error. The program should not stop in between. So let's see how we can do these things. So let's take a button. Let's use some text boxes. Okay, so let's have some labels. So let's make it somewhat in designing. Let's make some designing better. Okay, here we are going to put the loop limit, and here we are going to enter the values. And on this button click, we will be inserting the values inside the array, and afterwards taking the we will be retrieving the array's values from it by clicking the button. So let's make it button name caption as okay or text as okay. Let's double click on it. Let's declare an array. So it should have a depth of 4 as string. Now whatever things I am going to have inside this array means the length of the array is equal to 5. It means it will work from 0 to 4. Means we can have 5 collection inside this array. So we can say arr str 0 will have some value inside it. Suppose it's a. The same thing like that 0 to 4 we can add some values inside it. So for entering the values we will be taking help of your text boxes. Okay, and for continuing the loop or for filling something inside the array we will be taking help of the loop. Let's see. For as integer is equals to 0 to the limit, what should be the limit? So I should be less than equals to means it should be till bit means what should be the value of I to satisfy the last condition means it should run from 0 to where. I'll be saying take this value from the text box 1. Let's convert it. Let's convert your text box 1 value to integer, and we have to run the steps. The step is 1 means it will be incremented by 1 every time. Then the same thing, array of ith index should be filled with your text box 2 dot text. Okay, it's much simple. So I'll first enter the limit which is equal to 3. It means it will go from 0 to 3. If it is 0 to 3 it will work fine means it is 0 1 2 and 3. It means it will have the depth of 3 or I can say 4. Actual depth of the array is been declared as 5 means it can have the collection of 5 elements inside it, but here we are entering 3. It means it will able to write 4 elements inside it. It is less than the limit, it will work fine. Even if it is 4 it will work fine. It means it will go from 0 to 4. Now let's use a 3 and let's enter some value which is called as hello. It will be inserted inside your array for 4 times. Okay, I seems it seems there is no error here. Now let's use here 5. It means it will run from 0 to 5, means it will try to enter 6 elements inside it, which is not valid. When I click on OK, you will able to see my program gives me an exception, which is a runtime exceptions, I can say runtime error. So my program is unexceptionally going to close. So if I don't want my program to be closed, I want that error to be handled by me directly. Okay, means I should show this error to the user so that user can easily understand what is the problem with it. Okay, so let's see how we can do these things. See, wherever you think there is an error, you think or you assume that there will be an error in this code. Okay, so that time you will not take a risk, you will put that thing inside a block which is called as try, and then you will catch this exception using a catch block. And this exception will take help of your exception class, which will say catch e or ex as exception. Exception is a major class of exception which can handle many exceptions inside it. Then I'll be saying we have to end try. Okay, now the what what error I got, I just want to display it to the user. Let's use a message box and let's say I want the ex is an object of the exception. What exception I get, just want a message of it. Message is nothing but one of the property inside it. Now let's put the limit which was 5 previously and let some value inside it. When I click OK, it will give me an error. Index was outside the bound of an array, means the depth of an array was defined to be 5, means the depth of an array is 5 and we are inserting 6 values. It's not valid. So this was an error which was checking for the I can say array. So each and every exception is cached here. So this is the major exception class which can handle any of your exceptions. If you want to explicitly handle your array out of bound exception, you can again use a catch block. Then you will say array exception as oh, so we will be catching this exception which is called as arithmetic exception. I can say array out of bound exception. So it will be your, so you will able to see the exceptions classes. It means exceptions, what type of exception you want to handle. So it's on you which type of exception should be handled by which object or which catch. So I'll be saying it is a index out of range exceptions, means the array index is out of range. So if the problem is with the array, you should take this I can say you can if there is an error inside your array, so automatically this exception, this catch block will be called. So let's explain you. MSG box. In MSG box I'll be printing that axe aex dot message. So you'll be giving me the message of array out of bound. This exception will not be called because it is a major exception now. Let's see. Limit 6 and then let's limit something. Okay. So let's see, this is our, let's, if we are confused, let's add some blank text here, or I can say append some text here. This is your, I can say it is a custom. Okay, let's see. which exception is going to be called. It's a custom because I have explicitly told him that if there is an error inside your array, if it is out of bound, you should give me this error. This catch blocks will work for it. Now let's see, let's make a catch block, one more catch block for your divide by 0 as your divide by 0 exception. Okay, and here message box will be something else. It must be a div dot message, and let's concat something with it. Let's use div z so that we should will able to know which exception has been called. So let's do something else here. Let's take one more text box. Let's take one more text box here. Okay, let's take one more button. Let this button work for this both the text boxes. Okay. Even it will also do the addition. So after doing this, I'll be saying I just want to numbers to be divided. So this two numbers to be divided. Then let me write the code and I'll explain it to you now. Divide by c int text box 4 dot text. Okay, let's complete it. So the value should be converted into text and everything should be managed. So let's see. So here I'm entering something. I'm saying the limit is 4 and enter some values which is ffff, and here I'm entering 0 and it should be divided by 7. So I will get an error which is 0. The thing is that uh, this type of your operator divides 0 divided by something will give me a oh, even here I have to put some values so that I should not get the exception here. I should get the exception here. So I'm getting, even though I'm getting some output here. So let's see what is the names of your text box. This is your text box 4 and this is your text box 3. So let's use your 4 divided by 0. This is again, let's it is attempt to divide by 0 means what, I'm just trying to divide something by 0, that's it. So this is the error which I got, which I wrote it in the catch block explicitly. I just want to handle this error from my side, that's why. Now the thing is that if I write some string here, so it is what, it is again an error. Okay, it is a runtime error. Actually it should accept only the integer values. When I click here okay, it is saying conversion from string jh something something to integer is not valid. This is the major exception class which we have written in the last catch here. Okay, here I'll be saying concatenated with your major exception class. Okay, so the here is the limit, here is the value, here is your 4 and here is divided by 0, and here I'm just putting something else. So he's saying this is the error which I got from the major exception class, and this is the error I got from your divide by zero catch block. And if it is like this, I'll get the error from your index outside the bound of an array. Okay, this is again the custom one. So different blocks of catch will work differently. Now, what if the user enters the value? If I want to I can say I want to throw an exception, which is my own exception, I can say. So how can I create my own exceptions here? Suppose I don't want the user to enter a value greater than 5 here. I want the user to enter the value less than 5. Okay. So I should also get the exception like that, which I can say the number entered by the user is greater than 5. This should come in exception. So let's use an if condition. If I can say text box 5 dot text, let's convert it to int. If it is greater than 5, then I'll say I just want to raise an exception. Okay, so I'll say raise, or I can say throw an exception. Sorry, throw exception. Okay, throw exception, and which exception? So throw exception, I can say I just want to throw new exception which will be created by me. So throw new exception. Constructor will be called, default constructor can also be called, or you can also send some message to the constructor of the exception class. That message is you can't enter value greater than 5. 5. Okay, this is the exception which I am going to throw, and this is the class which is going to accept this exception. Okay, let's see. Limit 4, I don't want any type of error. Then here 2 divided by 3, and then here I'll be writing 7. Okay, this I got the output here 2 divided by 3, and here I got you can't enter the value greater than 5. This is a major exception class which we threw after checking this text box. Okay, so I think somewhat concept of your exception handling is cleared. So let's see one more thing which is called as finally block. Okay, so finally block has to execute even there is an error or not doesn't have an error. See why this finally block is used. Majorly finally block is used with your data objects. I can say if I want to read some file, and while reading the file, if I get an error in between the file, so after opening the file I have to close that file. So if there is an exception, it will not go for any of the other, I can say, operation. It will directly give the exception and it will stop the working. So this should not happen. Means if the file is open, if I click the button again, it will try to open it, and it will say that it will give me an error that file is always already open. So if there is an error between the file, or it is been I just opened the file and it is in between, it is giving some exception, so it should, before giving the exception, after giving the exception, it should also close the file. It works better with your database. Means I have to open the connection, and if there is a there is the connection which is open, and if I try to open it again, it will give me an error which is connection is already open. So if there is an error in between the connection, I should close this connection there itself. That's why we will use a finally block. It has to execute even there is a error in a program or there is not an error in a program. Okay, let's see. Okay, limit is 4, then 2, 3, then here 3. Finally worked. Now 9. I'm damn sure what I'm going to get the error here. The value should not be greater than 5. Okay, even after given the exception, finally will work. Okay, so I think you're through with it. Try can have multiple catch inside. Okay, I can say try can have one more try inside it. Means if I think this try should have one more try, you can have a try. But the thing is that one try should have at least one catch, at least to list. So this is the try inside try. It is called as nested try. I can also say I want to catch some exception. So what type of exception I want to catch? I can say here I will be able to see the exception which is called as your index out of range exception. Let's cut it and let's paste it here, and let's use end try. So this is the try inside try. Okay. So if this gives an error, this catch will work. If you want one more try to be working here, so it is divide by 0. So let's cut it and let's put this thing inside a try again. Try, and let's paste your exception and let's end your try. So try inside try. There are two try inside try. So if there is an error here, this catch will work. If there is an error here, this catch will work. If there is an error here in your message box, then this catch will work. Okay, so this is the line where no try is working, no internal try is working, so external try will be taking the command on it. So if there is an error in this line, this catch is going to this catch is going to work on it. Okay, this is a major exception class. And even if I can say if this has some error here, so after going this after throwing some message from this catch, this finally has to execute. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Some of the concept of yours been cleared. Oops, don't follow this program. The thing is that I just want this to be outside your try block, and this line should be inside your try. Okay, so there was only very less changes here. So this is one try, this is your next try, this is the block, this is the try, one of try inside try, this is again the try inside try, and this I can say this lines will be working for the external try. If there is an error here, it will throw the next, it will throw his new exception, and this exception will be cached here. Okay, now let's work with your mask text boxes. So where these things are used with your, I can say, for validating purpose, or I can say like that whatever the things has to be entered, it has to be entered properly. So let's work on it. This is your marks text box. So clicking on ellipsis button, you can set the mask. See here there are number of masks here. You can also have the preview here, means the digits can be entered, means it is from 000 to 999, again the 000 hyphen then 000. This syntax will be given to you, just you have to enter the fill in the blanks. If I'm saying numeric value 5 digits, so it means it can only allow the 5-digit date format. It means I can say uh, you can enter the 5 digits only. Let's work for your short date. So short date will work in the format of mmddyy. Okay, so let's see, does it works with mmddyy or ddmmyy? Okay, so as per you see here, the date format here is 12, it's 11, it's here. So it means month, date, and I can say year. Let's see. Let's set a mask which is of short date. Okay, now the thing is that I just want this thing to be validated. Okay, user will enter the value. When he will lose the focus from it, it should be validated, and again the focus should be set on here. Means if there is an error here, if there is a wrong date, it should be this text box should mask text box should become blank, and it should become red in color. Okay, so let's see how does it works. So I need what? I need a mask text box. Let's take that mask text box from your controls, and then let's work on your events. So let's go for the event. Okay, on type validation complete. Type validation complete means what? After typing all those things, validate the, I can say, validate your object. Let's see. I can say let's use an message box to see is the entered value is right or wrong. MSG box. Now we are going to work with your object E. This object E is working with your validate event args. Means whatever the uh, arguments are there which I am passing to your mask text box, all these things will be handled by your type validation event args. So this is your E, and I'll say is validate input. Let's see what is the output of it if I enter some values inside it. So let's use 12, 12, 12, 12. True means whatever the entered value is there, it's right. Then I'm using 30, 30, 30, 30. False. It means it will be give you error because your, I can say, month will not exceed 12. Okay, so let's see. This is your 12. Then here it's, sorry, 12. Then I can say it is 28. Then I can say it's 2011. It's true. Means first is your month, date, and year. If the format is proper, it should be, the background should be green, and if format is not proper, the text box should become blank and the background should become red. Let's see. Okay, so if it is true, means if the masked input, what I'm the input I'm giving to the mask text box, if it is valid, it will return me true. Let's use a condition. If e dot valid is valid input is true, then if it is valid, then give the color, background color of your to your text box. Let's see, mask text box one dot back color is equals to, say it should be green. Okay, means everything is working proper. Else I can say if it is not proper, then I say mask text box one dot background should be red. Before coloring it to the red, let's clear out all total text box. Okay, let's mask text box one dot text should be clear. And after making all these things to red, again let's focus on it. You can say mask text box one dot set focus. Oh, it's not size focus. Uh, Focus. Okay, means after doing all this thing, it should focus on your text box because it is wrong date type. Means it is not a valid date. So let's right side that here. Let's your 12, then your 30, then your 2011. Oh, it's right. Now let's see 12, 33, then your 2000. I can say 2011. It's wrong because there is somewhere in your date. So is telling you that it is something, it is wrong. So let's say 12, 30, then I'll go for 2011. It's okay, it will work fine. Okay, that is how you can work with your mask text boxes. Okay, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Bye bye.